Okay, thanks for being here. There was some sort of wrinkle in the algorithm last time, and I got a few more subscribers and a lot more views. And I don't know what caused that, but that's perfectly okay with me. And it reminded me, though, since we've got new people here, that I should probably explain what the purpose of the channel is, because I'm not doing this to try to make money on YouTube or anything. I'm doing this to share my experiences with the unknown, which are ongoing and have been going on, I realize now, for a very long time, with other people who may be having the same sort of situation with them. There, that may get me more in the middle. And so I thought I'd tell you the purpose of the channel for just a minute before we get on into what will be the first white paper I did for MUFON. The purpose of the channel is to discuss encounters with the unknown. And there's three unknowns going on here. One, from my point of view, is the things about my life that I didn't understand. That unknown, and what tomorrow may bring, is unknown for everybody. So it's the intersection of my own life with encounters with ufology, the phenomena that make up the ufology world. Lights in the sky, craft, beings that are not supposed to exist, and ancient forbidden archaeology. And if you're into those three things, then that's what this channel is about. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. And the third unknown, my own particular angle on this all, is because I'm a Baha'i. And the Baha'i Writings have a lot to say about this. Especially, you'll realize that if you have seen these things, as I have, if you're interacting with them, then in addition to the specifics that the Baha'i Writings say about them, there are other more general passages that seem to come into play. And because of these experiences, I lay out for you what I think that means. My underlying goal is to make ufology and all of the people that follow those phenomena aware that these writings exist. The Baha'i faith is not at all colonial. They don't care what you think. Baha'is we don't care what you think. And so it doesn't bother me that if you're a scientific person and you don't believe in God, perfect. You're in the right place. That's okay with us. And as I'll explain as we go through this. And so basically this channel is just to help my fellow experiencers in case there's anything that I'm putting together that also makes sense to you. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. So in this next episode, the one we're going to do right now, just think of it as looking over my shoulder at these writings. It will become pretty self-explanatory as we go through. There may be ideas in them that are useful to you regardless of what you think, regardless of what faith you are, regardless of whether you're agnostic or atheist or whatever. There still may be some ideas here that are helpful because I stick to this topic. And I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything at all, as you'll see. So the working title of this chapter 13 is Members since 2019. We've gotten up to the point where I joined MUFON in 2019. Likewise, I kept a journal, and the journal became this book entitled Inside Out. And that's kind of what we're going through now, is chapter by chapter through the book that's already written and has not yet been published. And none of it is time sensitive. Well, I'm going to get up and turn this fan off just a second. Okay, I got the fan off. So, okay, here we go. In the spring of 2019, I joined MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. The group was founded in nearby Quincy, Illinois in 1969, the year I graduated from Seymour High School at Payson. Quincy's only 12 miles away from here. Through MUFON, I encountered MADAR, M-A-D-A-R, and soon got a MADAR unit number 97, which I installed on the windowsill next to my desk at the middle house. And then I added a second for St. Louis, unit number 70. MADAR is an acronym for Multiple Anomaly Detection and Automated Recording. We, MADAR, are setting up an international network of data gathering little black boxes that know when the baseline electromagnetic level in its area changes, like when an anti-gravity powered whatever glides over your house. It monitors a whole bunch of stuff like that and saves the data for later research. In this book, I am trying to describe the strange occurrences in the order they happened, but to keep the story flowing, as you have seen, sometimes it seems to make more sense to tell all about an incident at one place in the story, even if that breaks up the timeline a little. Shortly after joining MUFON in the summer of 2019, the Great Questions Project began. MUFON asked its consultants, namely all members with advanced degrees, to undertake the writing of research papers to respond to a list of 25 questions. These papers would be peer-reviewed. By virtue of my Juris Doctor and Master's in History, I was included as a consultant. That was the beginning of putting my research down in writing for MUFON. Most of the questions were technical, right up the alley for nuclear physicists and their kin. But 3 questions were in my wheelhouse. Number 19, what would the effect of an undeniable ET presence be on Christianity, Judaism, and Islam? Number 20, what would be the short and long-term impacts of this situation on society? And number 24, why are they here? To issue a warning, to witness something, perhaps human advancement, or to incorporate humanity into a broader spectrum of civilizations? I found that I had something to say about these 3 questions. And on September 2nd, 2019, I contributed a paper on ET's effect on the Baha'i faith in answer to question 19. Again, please note that at that time, I was unaware that a review board of any kind even existed. Please refer to the foreword of this book for why I describe the faith in this article as I do. Remember, its adherents represent 0.001% of the world's population. That's 0.1%. That paper began this way. The Baha'i faith is basically a UFO, the UFO of world religions. It is observed widely and often, but the bulk of humanity remains blissfully unaware or in denial of its existence. Also, it is unique in many ways, not the least of which is that it addresses our topic directly, unquote. That's what I said. The white paper continues. When we ask what effect the undeniable recognition of ET will have on the world's religions, I feel we are really asking, 1, to what degree will it challenge the faith of a religion's adherents? And 2, how are these believers and their institutions likely to respond? I offered my opinion that the effect will probably be minimal on the Baha'i faith because the holy writings of the Baha'i faith have, from the beginning, acknowledged the existence of life beyond Earth. And I supported this mere opinion with statements from the writings. Quote, and these are from the Baha'i writings, "Know thou that every fixed star hath its own planets, and every planet its own creatures, whose number no man can compute." End quote. In 1918, this was further explained. Quote, The earth has its inhabitants. The water and the air contain many living beings, and all the elements have their natural spirits. Then how is it possible to conceive that these stupendous stellar bodies are not inhabited? Verily, they are peopled. But let it be known that the dwellers accord with the elements of their respective spheres. These living beings do not have states of consciousness like unto those who live on the surface of this globe. The power of adaptation and environment molds their bodies and states of consciousness, just as our bodies and minds are suited to our planet. End of quote. That's pretty clear as to what it's talking about. I mean, there are implications there, but they're talking about life beyond this world. That from the Holy Writings, the Baha'i Faith. That's why I want ufology to know that they exist. Now, as we go through this, I will say it again in the paper, but these are the writings of a monotheistic faith. And so if that's not up your alley, just consider yourself looking over my shoulder at this with me. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything, but this represents an independent third party whose main business is not UFOs. And this is what their writings have to say about that. And if you've never heard of this before, this is something new under the sun. If you know of another group of writings that claim this kind of authority that say these things, by all means, let everybody know about it. Okay, here we go on with this episode. In more recent times, the Universal House of Justice, the elected global governing body of the Baha'i Faith, addressed the issue in the following manner. Quote, as you rightly state, Baha'u'llah affirms that every fixed star has its planets and every planet its own creatures. The House of Justice states, however, that it has not discovered anything in the Baha'i writings that would indicate the degree of progress such creatures may have attained. Obviously, as creatures of Earth have managed to construct space probes and send them into outer space, it can be believed that creatures on other planets may have succeeded in doing likewise. End of quote. That is part of the statement of the faith on life beyond Earth. Now, this statement is matter of fact. We do this, and if somebody is out there, they may do it also. The function of this elected body is to apply the writings to new situations. They cannot change what the writings say, nor add or detract from them. They are being circumspect in their answer. In this book, I am not being circumspect for reasons we will discuss. Likewise, I mentioned in there that I was unaware of a review board. My understanding at this moment is the review board doesn't apply to blogs and YouTube channels, because if I went totally off the rails, it's so easily removed. It does apply to publications because the faith is trying to unite planet Earth. That's the mission of the Baha'i Faith. So we don't, and everybody is pretty much free to teach the faith, but we want to make sure that they're talking about the same thing. And as I've said, I've changed the description on the blog to say that my interpretation of the Baha'i writings in all of this is just my own. I don't know if any other Baha'i agrees with me anywhere, and that's my disclaimer. This is what I understand it to mean because of my experiences. If it makes sense to you, good. If you're listening to this and you're hearing the Baha'i writings for the first time, that's a win-win for me because I'm glad you're hearing about it at least. Lots of people don't know about it. So that's another unknown. That's the third unknown. My life, UFOs and Sasquatch and the Baha'i writings all coming together in this book that I wrote, as you're hearing. So it goes on. Next came this in that white paper, quote, O people, I swear by the one true God, this is the ocean out of which all seas have proceeded, and with which every one of them will ultimately be united. From him, all the suns, and that's S-U-N-S, like the sun in the sky, all the suns have been generated, and unto him they will all return. Through his potency, the trees of divine revelation have yielded their fruits, and every one of which hath been sent down in the form of a prophet, bearing a message to God's creatures in each of the worlds, whose number God alone in his all-encompassing knowledge can reckon. Now, again, if you don't believe in God, let me reiterate. For Baha'is, God is an unknowable essence. I repeat, an unknowable essence. He's not just unknown. So whatever you think it is, how we got here to this moment, your guess is as good as mine. The quote goes on. This he hath accomplished through the agency of but one letter of his word, revealed by his pen, a pen moved by his directing finger, his finger itself sustained by the power of God's truth. Okay, now here's my disclaimer in this white paper. Now, as I warn all my readers, not every time, but often, my research is in the writings of a monotheistic faith. Baha'i is not a religion. If you Google the difference, you will find that faith is how much you believe and trust, in this instance, God. Religion is more about system and ceremony. Either way, the writings are sure to mention God and the numerous names of God a lot. It just can't be helped. No one in this book cares whether you believe in God or not, so if you don't or aren't sure, we are still friends. I can't remove those references without totally changing everything. So just ignore that part if it is not within your spiritual or non-spiritual path. Remember, in this book, God is unknowable. Nobody knows. We're all equal in that and in lots of other ways. Now about this last quotation. The key part is the phrase, bearing a message to God's creatures in each of the worlds whose number God alone in his all-encompassing knowledge can reckon. Next, I added this quote, one of my favorites, quote, truthfulness is the foundation of all human virtues, period. Goes on, without truthfulness, progress and success in all the worlds of God are impossible for any soul. When this holy attribute is established in man, all the divine qualities will also be acquired. Close quote. I used it for several reasons. It's one of my favorites. It's like a Swiss Army knife. It has lots of applications, but also it explains a lot about virtues. As applied to high strangeness, consider this. Without truthfulness and progress in all the worlds of God, without truthfulness, progress and success in all the worlds of God are impossible for any soul. If you imagine the quote refers only to spiritual realms, it makes sense, though you don't need to agree. But if you think all the worlds include physical worlds as well, and it certainly doesn't exclude that, then if E.T. has a soul, in order to be successful and make progress, E.T. has to be truthful too, according to these writings, which claim to be from his creator as well. Plus, when the attribute of truthfulness is established in who? Man. Then all divine qualities will also be acquired. This makes a statement. In my research, as I have moved from article to article, I began to wonder if the term man was limited to human beings. The writings would direct me, and I hope you as well, to an answer in that regard. Now, spoiler alert, I've come to the conclusion that man includes all intelligent beings. All self-aware intelligent beings are included in the term man every time. And so I did that because jumping forward to last August at the MUFON conference, the question is, who are we? It's not who are they. We figured out who they are. But that creates a bigger question. Who are we? And part of the answer to who is mankind includes them. And I ask the question, who should we be? This whole thing gets very, very existential very quickly once you get past, oh, I saw a UFO, did you? When you begin asking the questions, how does it affect our universe, they get pretty deep in a hurry. Okay, going on. Back to the white paper. The next quote, this quote came next. As to the meaning of the cause of Baha'u'llah, whatever has to do with the universal good is divine, and whatever is divine is for the universal good. If it be true, it is for all. If not, it is for no one. Therefore, a divine cause of universal good cannot be limited to either the East or the West. For the radiance of the sun of truth illumines both the East and the West, and it makes its heat felt in the South and in the North. There is no difference between one pole and another. End of quote. This explains in part why truthfulness is the foundation, does it not? I admit I may give an opinion in the form of a question, as I have just done, but that gives you the opportunity to reply yes or no. Also, this quote could be just about humans on Earth, but it uses words like universal and all. As you will see for these writings, the universe is infinite. If you include other physical worlds within its application, it continues to make a logical statement, does it not? Quote, if the manifestation of God, the divine lawgiver, were not informed of the realities of things, if he did not understand the necessary relationships deriving from these realities, he would assuredly be incapable of establishing a religion consonant with the needs and conditions of the time, close quotes. If you feel that, quote, the realities of things, unquote, and their, quote, necessary relationships, unquote, include beings, stone monoliths, or experiences that are not supposed to exist, but you know they do, then these quotations indicate that these writings have your back, regardless of the unknowable essence that sent them. At this point in that white paper at that time, I felt I needed to explain a concept called progressive revelation. This book is not about that. If you follow a religion and you feel it does not offer you useful explanations regarding what you have seen and experienced, progressive revelation explains why. But you can research that on your own. Next came this quote. O ye lovers of this wronged one, cleanse ye your eyes so that ye behold no man as different from yourselves. See ye no strangers, rather see all men as friends. For love and unity come hard when you fix your gaze on otherness. And in this new and wondrous age, the Holy Writings say that we must be at one with every people, that we must see neither harshness nor injustice, neither malevolence nor hostility nor hate, but rather turn our eyes toward the heaven of ancient glory. For each of the creatures is a sign of God, and it was by the grace of the Lord and his power that each did step into the world. Therefore they are not strangers, but in the family, not aliens, but friends, and to be treated as such. Close quotes. Not making this up. That's exactly what it says. Again, it says, another quote, behold no man as different from yourselves, unquote. What if that term man includes E.T., beings other than E.T.? Who is more of a stranger than E.T., or so we think? I use this quote because of this as well. Quote, each of the creatures is a sign of God, unquote. Some experiencers jump to the conclusion that glowing red eyes indicate a demon. I prefer to think the data merely shows bioluminescence in the spectrum of light we read as the color red. Why include a judgment about another being's emotions or intent? The quote says they were created in the same way as us, and that they are signs, not just on a door, but signs of God. Even if you aren't religious, that is reassuring. It says, not aliens, but friends. I wonder what that could mean. I ended the white paper with this: ascend unto the heaven of wonderment, that thou mayest taste the goodly fruits of this blessed realm. Lose thyself in bewilderment before the power of thy beloved and the dominion of thy Creator, and proclaim that which the King of existence and the goal of all desire hath proclaimed. Quote, increase my wonder and amazement at thee, O God. Close quotes. If you know that the phenomena within ufology are real, then this is saying to me that searching out this information is a spiritual adventure all by itself. Let go of misinformation. Let go of the stuff you were taught that became less than universal when you encountered whatever it was that you saw from Sirius B or wherever. Why not let go of things that are not universally good if you can? This is where the who are we question brings some of us. Believe whatever you want, but describing what is good and why is clearly, universally useful sometimes. And since within these writings God cannot and will not be known by anyone, then Big Bang. Even people who don't like three-letter explanations of how we got here can enjoy the wonder and amazement. So why not? However many letters you use to explain all this is fine with me. I was particularly happy that these white papers were being peer-reviewed because of my agenda, making people in ufology aware that these writings exist. At least the reviewers would become aware of them, and that is enough. Why? Because who knows what will happen because of this. And that's the end of chapter 13 in my book, Inside Out. So I think we'll leave it there. And if you're new here, thanks for watching. I think I said at the beginning, if you like this stuff, click on the channel, go back and poke around. There are photographs back there. Lots of interesting stuff on Sasquatch and UFOs as well. Thanks for being here. See you next time.